My name is Robert Chen, and at 58 years old, I thought I knew what loyalty meant. I was wrong. It was a Tuesday morning when Marcus Wellington, the new managing partner, called me into his office. He was young, maybe 35, with perfectly styled hair and a suit that probably cost more than my monthly mortgage. He had joined the firm 6 months earlier through a merger, bringing what he called fresh perspective and modern strategies. I had been with Henderson and Associates since the beginning, when old Tom Henderson himself hired me fresh out of business school. Back then, we worked out of a small office above a bakery, and the smell of fresh bread would drift up through the floorboards every morning. Tom taught me everything, not just about accounting and client relations, but about treating people with dignity and respect. Marcus gestured to the leather chair across from his glass desk. His office was nothing like Tom's had been. Where Tom kept family photos and fishing trophies, Marcus had abstract art and motivational posters about disruption and innovation. "Robert, I'll get straight to it," he said, not bothering with pleasantries. "We're restructuring the firm, bringing in younger talent, people who understand the digital landscape. Your position is being eliminated." The words hit me like a physical blow. I had been with the company longer than anyone else. I had trained most of the current staff. I had relationships with clients that went back decades, built on trust and personal attention. After 25 years, my voice came out smaller than I intended. Marcus leaned back in his chair, his expression practiced and distant. "It's nothing personal, Robert. The market is changing. We need people who can adapt quickly, who bring energy and new ideas. Frankly, your approach is outdated. These clients want efficiency, not long phone calls about their grandchildren." He slid a folder across the desk. "Your severance package is generous. 3 months' salary. Best of luck in your future endeavors." I looked down at the folder, my hands trembling slightly. 3 months' salary after 25 years of dedication, of late nights and weekend work, of missing my daughter's school plays, because a client needed help before a deadline. "What about my clients?" I asked. "They'll be redistributed among the team. Don't worry, we'll handle the transition professionally." He was already looking at his computer screen, dismissing me without another word. Sarah from HR was waiting outside to walk me through the paperwork. She was kind, at least, her eyes sympathetic as she explained the details of my departure. She had been my daughter Emily's friend in high school, and I had helped her family with their taxes during a difficult time when her father was sick. "I'm so sorry, Mr. Chen," she whispered as I signed the final document. "This isn't right." I packed my office that afternoon while most people were at lunch. Marcus had been generous in that regard, at least, sparing me the indignity of emotional goodbyes. 25 years fit into 3 cardboard boxes, files I was allowed to keep, a desk plant my wife Margaret had given me on my first day, photos of Emily at various ages, and a plaque Tom Henderson had given me on my 10th anniversary that read, "To Robert, a man of integrity." The drive home was a blur. How was I going to tell Margaret? We had plans, dreams for retirement that were still 10 years away. Emily was in graduate school, and we were helping with her expenses. Our savings were solid but not infinite. Margaret was in the garden when I arrived home early, tending to the roses she loved. She looked up, saw my face, and immediately knew something. Wrong. After 32 years of marriage, words weren't always necessary. "Robert?" I told her everything, sitting at our kitchen table with cups of tea growing cold between us. She held my hand the whole time, her grip firm and steady. "We'll figure it out," she said finally. "We always do." That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about my clients, wondering how they would react to being reassigned. These weren't just account numbers to me. They were people I had worked with for years, sometimes decades. I knew their children's names, their struggles and triumphs, their fears about the future. There was Dorothy Martinez, 72, a widow who had trusted me to help her navigate her finances after her husband passed away 15 years ago. I had helped her understand her pension, had walked her through every decision with patience and care. There was James and Linda Patterson, who owned a small restaurant downtown. I had helped them through 2 recessions, restructuring their debt and finding ways to keep their dream alive. Their daughter was getting married next spring, and I had been invited to the wedding. There was Michael Torres, a freelance photographer in his 60s who had a regular income and needed careful planning. We had developed a system together over 20 years, one that gave him security while allowing him the freedom he craved. And there was Eleanor Hoffman, 90 years old, who had been with the firm since Tom Henderson's earliest days. She still came into the office every quarter, refusing to conduct business over the phone or computer. She would bring homemade cookies and tell stories about her late husband while I reviewed her accounts. These relationships mattered to me. They were the reason I loved my work, the reason I had stayed loyal to the firm through multiple opportunities to leave for higher pay elsewhere. The next morning, I drafted a letter. It took me 4 hours and 7 attempts to get it right. I wanted to strike the right tone, professional but personal, explaining what had happened without bitterness. I sent the letter to each of my former clients, 73 in total. I thanked them for their trust over the years, explained that I was no longer with the firm, and assured them they would be in good hands with my former colleagues. I didn't ask for anything. I didn't even mention that I was available if they needed help. It seemed inappropriate somehow, like I would be poaching from my former employer. The responses started coming the next day. Dorothy Martinez called first. Her voice was shaking with anger, something I had never heard from her before. "They let you go? After everything you've done? Robert, you guided me through the worst time of my life. You made sure I could keep my home, that I could help my grandchildren with college. And they just dismissed you? It's the way of business now, Dorothy. Don't worry about me. You'll be fine. Who's taking over my account?" "I'm not sure yet. Someone from the firm will contact you soon." There was a long pause. "No one else knows my situation like you do, Robert. No one else has earned my trust." James Patterson sent an email that same afternoon, copying his wife Linda. It was direct and to the point. "After 30 years of loyalty to your firm, we expected better. We won't be staying with Henderson and Associates. When you're ready to work again, let us know." Michael Torres left a voicemail. "Man, this is terrible news. You've been more than an accountant to me. You've been a financial counselor, a voice of reason when I wanted to make impulsive decisions, a steady presence in an unstable career. I don't want to work with anyone else." The messages kept coming. Phone calls, emails, even a few handwritten letters. My clients were angry, not at me but at the firm. More importantly, they were loyal. Eleanor Hoffman showed up at my house 3 days after I sent the letter. Margaret answered the door and brought her into the living room, where I was reviewing job listings with growing desperation. "Eleanor, you didn't have to come all this way." She was dressed as always in her best clothes, pearl necklace and sensible shoes, carrying her worn leather handbag. She sat down carefully in our armchair, her back straight despite her 90 years. "Robert Chen, I have been doing business with your firm since 1972. Tom Henderson himself helped me invest my husband's life insurance money after he passed. When Tom retired, he personally introduced me to you. He told me you were a man of character, and he was right." She opened her handbag and pulled out a folder. "This is a letter I've written to the firm, closing all my accounts. I've already spoken with my lawyer about transferring everything. I wanted you to know first. Eleanor, you don't have to do that. I'll be fine, and you need to think about your own interests." Her eyes, still sharp behind her glasses, fixed on mine. "My interests are in working with someone I trust, someone who remembers that behind every number is a person with hopes and fears. You never made me feel foolish for asking questions. You never rushed me. You treated my small accounts with the same respect you would give a millionaire." She stood up, smoothing her skirt. "When you decide what you're going to do next, you let me know. I'll be waiting." After she left, Margaret sat beside me on the couch. "How many clients do you think will leave?" "I don't know, maybe a few. Probably not many. It's a hassle to switch firms, transfer accounts, fill out new paperwork." I was wrong. Over the next 2 weeks, the exodus began. It started slowly, then picked up momentum as clients talked to each other, as word spread through the community we had built over decades. Sarah from HR called me, her voice strained. "Robert, I probably shouldn't be telling you this, but Marcus is panicking. We've had 43 account closures in the last 10 days. All your former clients. He's demanding to know what you said to them, whether you're poaching." I sent them a goodbye letter, that's all. I didn't ask them to leave. I know. I saw the letter, it was classy. But they're leaving anyway, and they're not quiet about why. Mrs. Hoffman apparently told the entire staff exactly what she thought of the firm's decision before she closed her accounts. Mr. Patterson posted a review online that's getting a lot of attention in the business community. I felt a mix of emotions. Validation, certainly. My relationships had meant something, had been built on genuine trust and care, but also worry. I didn't want to hurt the people who still worked at the firm, colleagues who had become friends over the years. "How's Marcus handling it?" Sarah laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Not well. He called an emergency staff meeting yesterday and blamed everyone except himself. He said the team didn't do enough to maintain client relationships, that the transition was handled poorly. Some of the younger staff members who barely knew your clients are being blamed for letting them go." 2 days later, my phone rang. It was Marcus. "Robert, we need to talk." His voice had lost its confident edge. "I have nothing to say to you, Marcus. Look, I may have been hasty. The board is concerned about the client losses. There might be room for you to come back in a consulting capacity, help with the transition." I thought about it for exactly 3 seconds. "No, thank you." "Robert, be reasonable. These clients are hurting the firm. You could talk to them, smooth things over." "I could, but I won't." "You made a business decision, Marcus. Now you're living with the consequences. Those clients don't want your modern strategies or your efficiency. They want someone who sees them as people, not account numbers. You turned them against us." "No, Marcus. I treated them with respect for 25 years, and you taught them what the firm is like without that respect. They made their own choice." I hung up. By the end of the month, 51 of my 73 clients had closed their accounts with Henderson and Associates. The firm lost nearly 70% of my client base, representing millions of dollars in managed assets and decades of relationship equity. Margaret and I talked late into the night about what to do next. My severance was running out, and I needed to make a decision about my future. "What do you want to do?" she asked. "I want to help my clients. They're calling me every day, asking when I'll be set up somewhere new. But starting over at 58 feels terrifying." She squeezed my hand. "Tom Henderson started his firm at 55. You told me that story when you first got hired, remember? He said the best time to start something new is when you finally know what matters." The next morning, I called James Patterson. "If I started my own practice, would you really move your accounts to me?" "In a heartbeat. But can you do that?" "I thought there were rules about taking clients from your old firm. They terminated me, and I never signed a non-compete. I can reach out to former clients after 30 days, which ended yesterday. I'm not taking clients from the firm. They already left. I'm just offering them a place to land." "Then what are you waiting for? Half the people I know are asking about you." Starting Chen Financial Services took 3 months of paperwork, certifications, office hunting, and sleepless. I rented a small suite in a building near downtown. 2 rooms with big windows and reasonable rent. Nothing fancy but honest and comfortable. Dorothy Martinez was my first official client. She came to the office on opening day with a bottle of champagne and tears in her eyes. "I knew you'd land on your feet." The others followed. The Pattersons, Michael Torres, Eleanor Hoffman. One by one they came back, bringing their trust and their business. Some brought friends who had heard the story and wanted to work with someone who operated the old way, with personal attention and genuine care. Marcus called one more time, 3 months after I opened. The firm was struggling, losing more clients beyond just mine. The staff was demoralized, and the board was asking questions about his leadership. "I underestimated you," he said. There was something different in his voice now, something humble. You underestimated the relationships, Marcus. I was just the person who built them. I'm sorry. For what it's worth, I learned something. I hope so. For your sake and for everyone who still works there. A year later, Chen Financial Services was thriving. I had 68 clients, a mix of my former accounts and new referrals. I hired 2 associates, both in their 50s, professionals who had been pushed out by firms chasing youth over experience. We were never going to be a corporate giant, but we were profitable, and more importantly, purposeful. Emily came home for Thanksgiving that year. Over dinner, she asked about the business. Are you happy, Dad? Really happy? I know starting over was scary. I looked around the table at Margaret and Emily, thought about my clients and the work I did, about the second chance I had been given to build something meaningful. I'm happier than I've been in years. Getting fired was the worst thing that happened to me and the best thing. All at once. It reminded me why I got into this business in the first place. Not for the prestige or the corner office, but to help people navigate one of the most stressful parts of their lives with someone they can trust. Margaret raised her glass. To new beginnings at any age. We clinked glasses and I felt a piece I hadn't known I was missing. The following spring, I got a letter from Tom Henderson. He had retired to Florida, but still kept in touch with old friends in the business. He had heard about everything that happened. His letter was short and to the point, written in his distinctive scrawl. Robert, I always knew you had it in you to carry on what we started all those years ago. A business built on relationships, respect, and real care for people. Sorry it took losing everything for you to find it, but that's often how wisdom comes. Proud of you. Come visit sometime, we'll go fishing. I keep that letter in my desk drawer, next to the plaque he gave me years ago. Some days, when a client thanks me for my patience, or tells me they're grateful for my guidance, I take them both out and remember the path that led me here. Marcus Wellington left Henderson and Associates 6 months after I started my practice. The firm survived but never regained what it lost. They brought in new leadership, someone older and more experienced. Someone who understood that in this business, relationships matter more than spreadsheets. As for the lesson in all of this, it's simple but profound. In a world racing toward efficiency and automation, there's still tremendous value in the human touch, in remembering names and asking about grandchildren, in patience and personal attention, in loyalty that runs both ways. Getting fired at 58 could have been the end of my career. Instead, it became a beginning, a chance to build something true to my values, a reminder it's never too late to start over when you're starting from a foundation of integrity and care. The clients who followed me didn't leave their old firm because I asked them to. They left because they had experienced something rare in modern business, a relationship built on genuine respect and care, where they were seen as people first and accounts second. When that was taken away, they chose to follow it wherever it went. That's the power of treating people right. It's not just good ethics, it's good business. And it's a lesson I wish more people in positions of power would learn before they have to learn it the hard way. Every morning, I unlock the door to Chen Financial Services and feel grateful. Grateful for the clients who showed such loyalty. Grateful for a wife who believed in me when I doubted myself. Grateful for a daughter who reminds me what really matters. And yes, even grateful to Marcus Wellington, who taught me through his mistakes what I had almost forgotten through routine, that this work is about people, not just profits. I'm 60 now, and I plan to work for at least another decade, maybe longer if my health holds. Not because I need the money, though that helps, but because I've finally built something that feels right, something that honors the lessons Tom Henderson taught me, and adds my own understanding earned through years of experience, and one very difficult lesson in what truly matters. If you found meaning in this story about second chances, and the enduring value of treating people with dignity and respect, I'd be grateful if you'd like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment below about your own experiences with loyalty, with starting over, or with relationships that mattered. Your stories matter too, and I'd love to hear them. Thank you for listening.